Would you look at that? Mr. Tim Stoll in the house tonight. Good to see you, Tim. Every day is hump day. And lately, every day's been Monday. David Crum, good to see you here. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. A few adjustments. We have a brand new installation of the broadcast software. Always throws us off a little bit. Charles Barber, good to see you. Mike Draco. Hey, man, you're tuning in to Cannonball Chronicles, the Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles, coming to you every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And proud to be bringing this to you from the Source Media headquarters, 50 floors below the street level. I'm Chris, the engineer. I'm going to be with you throughout the show. If you have any questions or comments, throw them up in the comment box. The hosts will get to them as they can. And remember to hit the like and share button for us. Help us get this out all across the land. Stick around. We're going live with Cannonball Chronicles in just 3 minutes. Tim from Sacramento, California, you guys rock. Hey man, thank you so much for the words of encouragement. You know, we're just a bunch of motorcycle people that luckily we found our way into this stuff through all the COVID crisis and found a way to keep the community together. But appreciate you guys giving us the support and checking in with us. Trisha Chance in the house, John Bartman, Nancy Keener. Good to see all you guys. Thanks for being here for us tonight for Cannonball Chronicles. Going live in just a minute and a half. And Big B, I didn't miss you. What's up, buddy? Mike Draco, Cincinnati, represent. Richard Campbell says, John Bartman owes me a beer. Next round on John Bartman. Awesome. Just 1 minute out. Short time now. Everybody's pulling up to the starting line. We're getting ready to cut them loose on Cannonball Chronicles. Down to the 30-second one. Wait, Bartman now is Chris Callan a beer too. Good man, Richard Campbell. Under 30 seconds, we're getting ready to go live. Let's get this one out of the shed and up onto the road and go live with this week's installment of the Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. Here we go.
Hey there, Cannonball Junkies. What's happening? That's right. We're back with you. It's another Wednesday night of Cannonball Chronicles. Man, I cannot believe it's already the end of January. Holy cow. I mean, one more week till February. 2021 is flipping, flying already. I cannot believe it. It'll just be a few more months until we're actually back on the road this September for the next Cannonball motorcycle run. That's right. We're going from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, down to South Padre Island, Texas. We're going to do it 16, 17 days, pre 1930 motorcycles. And we're excited. We're going to buzz across the country and really just have a rolling museum, I guess you could say. So we're super excited. Everything's back in effect. We're going no matter what, pandemic or not. Cannonball is rolling. So you heard it right here, right now. Anyway, we got a really, really great show for you guys tonight. Excited with this guy. I got to know him here a few years ago. One of the nicest guys, one of the nicest families that you can meet, and anxious to hear what kind of stories we can get out of him and what kind of chronicles we can get from this guy. So without further ado, I want to bring in my co-host, Mr. Robbie Nussbaum. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, Jason, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Life's been a little weird the last few days.
What have you been doing?
Freezing my ass off, really.
No.
Oh, yeah, dude. I should have sent some pictures in. Can you believe that we got snow here in frickin' Arizona?
You too, huh? We got snow here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy. I thought for sure I would never see it here, but we only got just a quick little dusting. A lot of people around us, they got quite a bit actually. So the mountain that's right to the east of our property was just covered in white stuff. It was just really weird to see.
Well, it won't last long out there, I'm sure.
No, it's gone already. For the most part, everything's gone, but it's still kind of cold and been raining on and off. So you don't get your fill of being able to go out and ride motorcycles. At least me, because I kind of become a fair weather rider lately, it seems like.
Hey, what day is it?
It's hump day!
Hump day! And that means it's Cannonball Chronicles Day. I'm excited. Tonight's guest is a really good guy, and his team is a very exciting group of people. So we should have a lot of fun with him tonight. So,
yeah, I'm excited.
What else is going on? Anything else? Anything new? Did you buy any new stuff?
No. I've been trying to get in the garage a little bit to work on a couple of projects that I got going, but with the cold weather and all that, it's just been a little unmotivating to get out there. So
you have electricity now.
Well, I have electricity, but I don't have no heat. So, like I said, I'm becoming kind of a weenie in my old days. I just had a birthday. So, but what's happening over in your place? I heard you've been busy.
Yeah, doing a lot of generator work, and we're going to do a segment on Shop Talk on Sunday night. I think it's Sunday night about generator rebuilds and different various arrangements that you can do. So that was today's project, just trying to get some videos together and see what we can do.
Nice.
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah,
it's always fun and exciting. Yeah, we had a good time on Shop Talk the other night.
Yeah, that was a blast. And then last night's show was pretty exciting with Coast to Coast with Chris Simmons and Michael Lecter.
I only got to watch about the last 5 or 10 minutes, but it was pretty good. I got to go back and watch it tomorrow when I got some time.
I understand she's trying to interview you, so you better go back and watch some of that.
Oh, no kidding. Somebody brought up a rumor like that, but
somebody. I don't know who started that, but
you don't want this cute face in all your print? What?
What?
I drive ratings.
So we have a regular segment on this show that started out with Michael Lecter doing some of his still photographs, and then he jumped ship and went over to work with Chris, and that seems to have worked out very well. But our substitute is nonetheless as accomplished in a video, in her videography. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce this segment as 1,000 Words.
Hi, everybody.
Well, what's happening?
Hi, Rebecca. How are
Oh,
you?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. We've had, we've all got to talk about the weather, right? So we've had very pleasant weather the last few days. So I've enjoyed that.
Nice.
February probably won't be pleasant, but that's, part of life.
Well,
When
here in the Northeast, we got 2 months to go before things start to lighten up, so that's a good sign. You know,
Oh boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 The February tends to be pretty bad up here, but we'll see what happens. It'll be hopefully. You got my fingers crossed. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. We could all use a mild winter,
Yep.
I
Yep.
think.
So what's going on? What do you got for
Oh.
us?
Well, I kind of went back in history a little bit. I've got a video from 2014, and one of the really fun things I think for me, and I am assuming for everybody else who's a staffer and a participant in the Cannonball, is getting to go places that we might not normally go, and just see some really interesting places. In a lot of these are in for instance, tonight's video is in Burlington, Colorado, and Burlington's not a very big town, but they have this really interesting museum, and it's called Old Town, and it is set up like an old settlement in that part of Colorado. Is before you hit the cool mountains, so it's the prairie land, so it's like a prairie town, and it was just a very enjoyable evening. They had it set up so that the competitors and the staff got to go get some dinner, and they had that in the top floor of, it was like a big barn, and of course they had turned it into an event center, but the top floor of the barn was like being in the loft of a big barn, and they were playing old movies in it. So it was just a lot of fun to be there. And then the other fun part for me was I wandered around a little bit. I turned a corner, and there was Paul Dorland's and Alan Stolberg Bro Superior that they were writing that year, and um, it was all by itself. People weren't looking at it, taking pictures. Nobody was standing next to it, wandering by anything. And I had just a little bit of time to just focus on shooting video of that bike, which, as all of us who participate in Cannonball know, those moments can be pretty darn rare. So here's the video.
That was great.
I'm putting that video on repeat tonight. I love that music.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it's better than
love
that
it.
experimental stuff that I put on one of the writing videos, and everybody went, "Oh my gosh, Rebecca, stop doing that." I stopped doing that.
No, I love it. It's like that video just reminds me of like going to a wedding, you know, and then you see that Bruff Superior, and that's the one that you want to take to the wedding and to the dance. So, I mean, I'm just imagining
Yeah,
that, just like, wow.
yeah. And
So,
I just, I'm not well versed in all the particulars of these bikes, of any of them really. I can spot them and go, yeah, that's a this and that's a that, but I'm not good at knowing the years and all the stuff that like you guys know. But it's still, they all draw me in because I'm looking at the beginning of motorcycling, and I look at the things just like the hand levers and the knobs and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, how did they even come up with the idea to even try to do whatever it is they did on some of these? Now I know by 33 that there were quite a few variations of motorcycles, so the guys had already, had something previous to look at to come up with things, but still that was the infancy of motorcycling, and a lot of mechanical engineering for keeping things going down the road. So
right.
I really get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that particular bike is pretty outstanding. I mean, that's one of the more rare motorcycles and probably one of the more expensive motorcycles that have ever been on a Cannonball. I mean, a Bruff Superior, it's just something you don't see every day. Um, if you do see them, they're in a museum, and people are too afraid to even start them, just because the plain fact of how much they're worth, you know. So um, that particular bike there was owned by a great sponsor of ours, Brian Bozier of Sinless Cycles, and he had sponsored Paul D'Orleans and Alan Stolberg to ride that machine for him in the Cannonball. He just didn't have enough time in his career to do it at the time. So now that he's retired, he's actually partaked in the last Cannonball, the 2018, and now the Chase, and signed up for the next one. So that particular bike also just changed hands here within the last 3 months. And a pretty good person is getting that bike, and he has promised me that he will be riding it again in one of our events. So probably a Chase.
Good.
Oh, that's
Good.
cool.
And when it's released of who actually got it, everybody will be surprised, and it'll be kind of a big deal, I guess. So hopefully
cool.
we'll see something here shortly of who actually got that machine. And I know they're planning on doing some documentary work with it. So stay tuned.
Very cool. Very cool.
That is a cool bike. A few months back, we had Jay Leno on Shop Talk, and he has a huge collection of Bruff Superiors. And and if you guys get a chance, go back to YouTube and just Google Shop Talk with Jay Leno, and you can see it. It's a pretty interesting episode. And he gives us the whole lineage and everything of the Bruff Superior line. See, right. I think he owns 23 Bruff Superiors or something like that.
Yeah, it's some kind of crazy number.
Yeah, he's got some crazy number. So
we all need his budget.
Yeah,
it's true.
Oh, and listen,
that would be nice.
I just have to say this real quick because I don't get the gloat about seeing an impressive amount of motorcycles all together. Like the one day Kiwi Mike took me over to Jay's place, and they were all in a room. And I mean, if you get to see two of those things together in a room in your lifetime, you're pretty lucky. And to see, like you said, he had like 30 of them. And as we're going down the list, talking about the differences from model year to model year, and it was insane. It was sensory overload.
Yeah, it's incredible. Go check out that episode.
Yeah,
but not right now.
I really got one other thing
later.
I want to say something about that video is, I mean, I'm glad that I got to watch that, because that particular day, I didn't even get to see that place. which is really kind of unfortunate. It's one of the memories that I had that will always stick with me on the 2014 Cannonball is that particular day. I actually had 10 or 12 people come see me from the Dakotas. They had drove down from South Dakota to cheer me on during the Cannonball. And when I got 5 miles from Burlington, there was 5 of us riding on the highway. I know we're not supposed to be doing this, but we were with Michael Lichter, and we were 5 abreast in the 2-lane road, all riding knuckleheads, just trying to get that impressive shot for Lichter. And I was in the middle, and we were all doing about 65 miles an hour, and I had a blowout on my rear tire. And unfortunately, I was on the side of the road waiting for the sweep wagon. There was just no way we tried to change the tire, I think twice, and both tubes that I put in broke as we were putting them on. And so I got into that stop. I was there maybe 5 minutes. All my family was out there waiting for me, wondering if I was alive, if I wasn't, because they hadn't seen me. Everybody was there. And just bad memory. But I've always wanted to go back to that place or see it, because I didn't get to do it, and really didn't get to spend time with my family when they came and see me, because I had, hours of repair to do that night. So a little bit of a bummer, but that's Cannonball.
Yeah. I remember that you had some sort of issue that day. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I do also remember you guys talking about doing that shot, because I think Michael got the shot, didn't he, before you had the blowout?
Yeah, we actually got a pretty good shots on it. And, it was just lucky that nobody did get hurt on it. But,
yeah,
it turned out to be a pretty cool shot.
Yeah. So for viewers' reference, if you're ever going down I-40 towards Denver or away from Denver, right there at the border, there at Burlington, Colorado, that museum is right there, right off of the interstate. And it's well worth taking a few hours and wandering through it. It's definitely a good stop when you're traveling.
Heck yeah. So yeah, I was it's a really good place. I hope we get back there here one of these times on the Cannonballs. So anyway, how about Robbie, you think we should take a quick little break and then bring in a guest?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's support our sponsors, and let's welcome all the people from Chopper Town who are tuning in, and all the other social media channels. And what do they want? What do we want them to do, Jason?
We want them to mash that button, that little button over there that says share. Mash it.
And tell all your friends to tune in and watch Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. But right now, we're going to support our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
For more information on the products listed in this video, click on the link in the description area below. Feel free to call us with any questions or place an order at 800-969-7501. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, and subscribe for all of the latest DK events, videos, and promos.
One of the things I want to show you today is our new improved engine puller.
We put heim joints in the hand to allow rotation of the engine, which makes it easier to get it in and out of the frame. And over here we have what's called the posi lock, which allows this to be locked in place and the engine can't swing from side to side.
George is actually going to come in, make contact with the cylinders, tighten it down, pull it out of there. It's just that easy. We really feel that we have the tool, the best it's been, where we really feel strong about what it can do in the marketplace. Visit BanksBrothersMotorcycles.com to order your Banks lift.
And we're back.
Thanks to our sponsors. Without those guys, without you guys out there, this show doesn't happen. So,
Thanks, gas, baby.
heck yeah.
Thanks to those guys, this is all possible, right?
Heck yeah. It's also, I gotta give a shout out tonight to my dog, Bob. This guy, he don't, I'm gonna see if I can get this. I just took a selfie. Let's see if it'll focus here. But you can see he won't leave my side whenever I do this show. So he's always
chilling.
right there, chilling. I try to kick him out. He's whining and crying. So shout out to Bob.
Bob.
Yay, Bob.
So anyway, I think it's a good time. I'm excited for our guest tonight. So I think without further ado, we should bring him in and let's get his story.
Yeah, let's talk to his.
Let's
to our
meet the
guest.
riders.
Meet the riders, baby.
Well, hey there, Mr. Butts. What's happening?
Rob, Jason, good. How are you guys doing?
Good,
Oh,
Mike.
doing
How are
real
you?
Good. Yeah, we're hoping for some colder weather up here in Minnesota, but we're doing okay so far. So if it wants to wait a little bit, we'll be all right with it.
Yeah, you guys have had a pretty mild winter up there, it seems like.
Yeah, relatively mild as far as the snow goes, but right now my driveway's like a skating rink. You could skate up and down it without I don't think there's any concrete showing at all. So
Right. Well, hopefully it'll get better. I know my good buddy up there, Teach Bass, is having an event in just a couple of weeks out on the ice. So I'm excited to see them put some ice racing together with the old bikes and old cars out there.
yeah. So I suppose you're into the Arizona weather now. You're done with the Dakotas, huh?
Well, yeah, at least for these type of months. But it's been kind of bittersweet, because we moved down here just because of the weather. I mean, it was just getting harder and harder in the Dakotas, and but this year they've barely had any snow and been nice, and it's a little frustrating seeing all my friends out there having fun and enjoying the Black Hills, and but no regrets. We still love it down here.
Yep.
So
And Rob's doing good. Good weather in Jersey, Rob, or is it?
We had a little snow, as I said in the beginning of the show. We had a little bit of snow. Been working on your motor. We got the carburetor all set up and the manifold is on. So hope to run it this week, and we'll be done. So your 29 will be finally be done.
All right.
nice. So for the people that don't know, our guest tonight is Mike Butts. He's from Minnesota. He's done one cannonball and one chase now, and we'll see if we can get a little bit of story and a little bit of history out of him. And how about Mike, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you're at, what you do for a living, and we'll just kind of start there.
Yeah, so I've been in Minnesota all my life. Grew up in one of the suburbs here in Minneapolis, and went to school, worked construction for a few years, and then I decided I wanted to go back to school. So I went and got my degree in mechanical engineering, then went on to medical school after that. So currently working as an ER physician in a couple local ERs here in Minneapolis and St. Cloud. That's how I keep myself busy during the day. And then
I can imagine right now. I mean, that's got to be really busy.
Yeah, it's been up and down. So it's interesting that when the COVID gets bad, the ER just shuts down. No one comes in. You get people that have their strokes at home. They have their heart attacks at home because they're afraid of the virus. They don't want to come in and get it. So I think it's.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, no, we get when the numbers start going up and they start making the announcements on the news and shutting everything down, that's when the ER just shuts down too. We don't see much business, and we've, our census drops off big time when that starts happening.
Wow, that's amazing. I would have thought that it would be exactly the opposite, but I guess it does make a little bit of sense. So
People they're scared of that virus. I don't know. We don't see too many sick people come in, but the ones that are sick are really sick, and a lot of the older people don't have much immune system to deal with it. So
right now, the virus, it's nothing to joke about. Maybe one of these episodes in a different time, and when we got a lot more time, I'll tell everybody my story about having COVID and what I'm going through and all that kind of stuff. But that's for a whole different show. I want to learn about motorcycles and get off all this health stuff. So let's chat about where you really started with motorcycling.
yeah, so I started. I mean, I've loved bikes since I was little. My dad had 49 Panhead is what we had when we grew up, and we'd pack 5 people on the one motorcycle. My dad would be driving, and there'd be a kid in front of him, a kid behind him, one on the front fender, one on the rear fender, and we'd go down to the store and never think anything of it. And it was pretty interesting that he would keep doing things like that and never got arrested or anything. It was more commonplace back then. I don't think you could get away with any of that now. But then we grew up. We got bikes at kind of a young age. We had the old one with the Clinton 3.5 horse with a scrub brake on the back of it. And we had that when I was probably 8, 9, 10, and my older brother and I bought a 125 Yamaha street bike when we were in our teens, and we rode that around, and I kind of used it like a dirt bike, but it wasn't any kind of dirt bike. And I just went on and I started racing motocross at around 14, 15, and was actually had some. I had done pretty well in the motocross circuit and was in the top 10 for a few years through the mid 70s, late 70s.
Mike, what you riding motocross?
I rode 250 Yamahas mostly initially starting out, and then later on I went up to 500 and kind of flipped over to Honda. But it was Yamahas pretty much most of the time. I was in some amateur national stuff, never made it to the pro level, but I did all sorts of stuff. I was crazy with motorcycles. That's all I lived for. I'd ride enduros, I'd ride the motocross, we'd ride flat track. I would during the winters I'd stud up tires and race it on the ice, and then like a day later we'd be in the Minneapolis Armory riding around a cement outside of a basketball court, going around in a circle and a flat track thing. And so we kind of did it all. The only thing I didn't do was speedway and road racing, and kind of wish I would have done those too.
Heck yeah. So it seems like you kind of been on that track for quite a while. When did you really getting into riding more on the street and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've always ridden on the street somewhat, but it wasn't a big push for me. And it seemed like over the last 20 years, 15 years, I've done some more street riding. I have a couple street bikes that I've had for years. Started getting into kind of some older stuff. And for me, initially, that meant, 60s and 70s. And then, it was kind of interesting. I think I was just kind of just perusing through the internet, looking at this, looking at that, maybe looking for motorcycle parts, and all of a sudden came across this Cannonball thing. And that was about 2016. And it was, I kind of, what's this about, because I wasn't racing anymore. I was getting a little too old. I'd gone off a double jump at one of the races and broke my hip in my 50s. And I thought, oh boy, this is good. I better tone this down a little bit, so did that. And then I came across this Cannonball thing, and I thought, I should look into this more. And that's when I think I reached out to you, and kind of got some feedback and thought maybe it might happen, and kind of went from there.
Right. So I think that was at the time you didn't have any antique motorcycles at the time. And I think really the first one you ever bought was for me, wasn't it? At Davenport?
Yep. So in that year, and that was 17. So in the summer of 17, I actually started looking around thinking I want to do this Cannonball thing. And I talked to, let's see, am I going to remember his name? The guy over in Netherlands at one of the antique bike places. That,
was it Gert?
Gert Versland.
Yeah.
So Gert has that site and sells a lot of bikes. And I kind of thought, Indians sound pretty cool. 101 Scout sounds like a great bike. And I waited until I found one of the 45s instead of the 37 cubic inch ones, and picked it up and ordered that. And I mean, if you can imagine, my older brother's an accountant. He's here. I sent a check for $42,000 over to the Netherlands, knowing that if it was some goofball, I'd never get it back and would have no way to get it back. That was kind of crazy. He thought I was absolutely nuts, but it worked out, and it ended up showing up. It was a nice bike. And then it was right after that I went to that Davenport meet and bought that 28 BA Harley from you.
I think we actually got a picture of it.
Let's take a look at some of the pictures you sent us, Mike.
Yeah, it was a piece of work. So that's the JD that I bought a few months later at Mecum. But that BA's in there. There's the there's a bunch of. Let's anyhow, one of the ones is a picture of that pea shooter that I bought from you, Jason, and that
it should be the primer one, Chris, with a for sale sign on it.
Yep. Yeah, the one with the for sale sign is that's the one.
Yeah, there it goes.
So it's a 28 Harley BA, and it's a 350 single, and it's kind of the racy one because it's got the overhead valve. It's not the SA, which is the pure race model, but it's still kind of the racy sport one. It puts out more ponies than the regular B model one that they had.
Right.
Yeah, great.
I missed that. I missed that thing like crazy. I should have never sold that dang thing.
Here we go.
It's just a hard one to find. You just don't find the overhead model pea shooters.
Yeah, that's what it looks like now, minus the engine. So.
So
that's a current state right now. You just got the engine left, and
yeah, that's the current state, and it's sitting in Montana right now at somebody's shop and just waiting to get it done.
Oh, cool.
How many bikes do you have, Mike?
What's that, Rob?
How many bikes do you have now?
I have about 50, I think.
50.
Yep, I think I have about 50. There'd be a handful of new bikes, road and dirt. I've got 4 KTM 450 and 500s that we go to Colorado riding every year out in the mountains.
Now, when you say we, who do you mean when you say we?
Me, my son, my daughter's brother, some friends, some neighbors. Yeah, we have a pretty big group of people that ride in the dirt and are kind of interested in bikes, street riding. That's pretty much who I hang around with, I think.
So it's 2017, and you got this bike, and then you ordered another one from the Netherlands, and you get interested in a Cannonball, and I think you actually sign up in 17 and get on the event itself. Let's talk a little bit about finding a bike. I think you ended up getting one locally, didn't you? And then having to go through it and what it took, and what it really took to get up to the Cannonball, and not really knowing anybody, and being a first timer, and just really not even having that much time to get prepared, really.
Yeah, it's kind of an amazing story, really. Everybody's got their stories, and I've heard some real good ones on the Chronicles, but You know, it's kind of amazing how much you can get done if you really put your mind to it. But so the bike that I finally rode was that 27 JD that I got at Mecum in the end of January in 18. So the ride was in 18. I got the JD in 18. And then I had met Rob at the Mecum meet when I bought the JD, and we kind of were looking the thing over. It's like, wow, this is going to need some work. And Rob remembers that too, I'm sure. And,
oh yeah, I remember that. We had I think Nick Muth was there, Nick from South Jersey.
Yep.
And we were looking it over, and then I started pointing some stuff out to you, and then I felt bad, you know, that I was like, Mike, this is going to need a lot of work, you know. So,
so
the best part of that story, though, is that after you bought it, you contacted me. I guess it was within a month. You contacted me and you said, I'd like to bring it out. And I knowing that you were in Minneapolis, you said you wanted me to do it. And then you were in Minneapolis and I'm here in New Jersey. I said, well, we can call Whole Bikes, blah, blah, blah. You go, no, I'm driving out this weekend. and we had a major snowstorm, like 20 something inches of snow. And you came in right behind the snowstorm. Like you must have, I don't know if you were caught in it or what, but you showed up and I was like, how the hell did you even make it here?
Well, that's absolutely correct. My older brother and I, Steve, took off, and I wanted to get it there. I wanted to get it done. I had to get it going. I knew that I was only had so much time to get it done. So we hopped in the truck and headed out. And when we got to New Jersey, it was blizzarding pretty good. We went through some snow banks. Things were shut down. But we made it there, got it there, and it was. And by the time we left to go home, they had cleared everything out. We were doing great. So.
Yeah, that was so funny. I mean, I could not believe that you were at the door the next morning. You know, I mean, the snow was hardly even cleared away, and you're sitting there going, "Okay, so what are we going to do about this?"
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I mean, now you got the bike dropped off, and Robbie's going through it. You're going through it.
Yep. So I dropped.
Let's talk about some of the problems and what took to get on it.
Yeah. So it was, getting the bike out there. And initially, we were concerned there was some frame problems with it, but the frame wasn't too bad. The forks were definitely bent, and that was why it seemed so kitty-wampus. And then the motor and tranny left with Rob. And then, I started working on the frame and stuff, and waiting for the motor to get done, getting everything together. Took the tanks off. The tanks were leaking. The tranny, I think, was kind of a mess, although I don't know if it was too bad. Rob might remember, maybe not. But
I don't remember, but.
Yeah. So, the generator, all that stuff needed to be gone through and redone. And I was kind of moving kind of slow on it, but trying to get everything done. And then it was in June, actually, that it was in May, actually, that I came across somebody in Minneapolis that was selling JD parts. And I thought, who's this? And, because you don't see that many people selling JD parts, around the country. And
right.
It ended up being a guy that I met, that I ended up meeting. It was on eBay, and I kind of texted him. His name's Will Peckles, and he's a great guy. And he's a young guy too, and he was into the JD stuff. And I got his name and number. We kind of hooked up, and he said, "I want you to meet this friend of mine because he's a really good guy. He was in the Cannonball." And before that, I didn't know anybody in the Cannonball. I didn't know anything about the Cannonball. I didn't know how things worked. I had no idea. I just knew it was something that I wanted to do. And so he hooked me up to his friend, Jerry Wheeland, who's in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin crew. And Jerry and another friend of mine now, Dick Clarkowski, met me and looked at my bike. And I think they didn't say this to me, but at the time they were like, there is no way this guy's going to get this stuff done by September. Because Jerry, of course, had been in the Cannonball with his wife, Deb, and Dick was a kind of a JD expert. And so they came to my house from Menominee and Eau Claire and would help me work on that bike on a weekly basis to get all the little nitpicky things done that you need to do. It's little things, but they end up being bigger things. I sent the wheels out and had the clinchers taken off and put drop centers on, got the tires, got everything set up, got it painted, sealed the tank that was leaking all over everywhere. And it was a lot bigger project than I ever thought it would be. But I learned tons, and it was a lot of fun. And, luckily I had Jerry and Dick to help me out, because without them, I never would have got it done.
All right. Yeah. A couple of great guys there. That's the guy that we got to have on this show is Jerry.
Yeah, let's roll the video that Mike gave us if we could. It's pretty good video that you supplied to us. And
so this video is pretty funny. It was when I first got the bike, and so this would have been in February. We got home, it was delivered, and there was a bunch of my friends that were in there. We had no idea how to start the thing, how much oil it needed, how to work it, what to do with the throttle and the timing and everything. And we tried to start it. I bet you we kicked it 100 times before we got to this video, and we got a couple pops out of it. And we were all just, yay! That was the greatest thing in the world, And of course, Mary is the one that did the video on that, and it was just a hoot. We were happy.
Let's roll the video, and on the other side, let's meet Mary and Steve. All right.
Wow, we just got to
Steve, pull that left-hand side pin, I think.
that throttle sticks. We got to smart these on. Okay.
Put the spark plugs back in.
Yep. It's a lot easier than that. Where's the smoke coming out of this thing? Everywhere?
I wanted to see where the smoke was coming from.
We gotta get another quart of oil for this thing now.
That's fun.
Oh man, there was no better feeling than that.
So, Mike, why don't you introduce us to your family there?
Yeah. So this is my brother Steve, my older brother Steve, and his wife Mary.
Older. I noticed you said older, right?
He's a little bit older, and he's the accountant. He's the caregiver of the family, the oldest brother, and there's only 9 kids, so he's the oldest of 9. So.
Oh, holy cow!
And there's my favorite butts in the back, right in the middle there. My favorite. You two guys don't count. The one in the middle in the back, she's my favorite.
Right back at you, Rob.
Mary's usually so quiet, Rob. I'm surprised she said anything.
She's like a church mouse, She's mousy Mary.
Yeah, hardly anybody at any of the Cannonballs or the Chase have ever met Mary, because she just doesn't talk.
Quiet and shy.
When we came home from the Chase the last time we came home from the Chase, my brother could not stop talking about Mary Butts.
That's just because I was picking on you, Rob, and he loved it.
Yeah, it's probably true, Mary. So tell us what your responsibilities were on the last Cannonball.
Ours?
Yes.
Oh, well, we didn't, like Mike's saying, we did not know what we were doing, what we were in for. And, when we got out to Portland, we thought we were the only ones that were rookies, right? So we were looking for people with other experience. But we were basically just the pit crew, whatever Mike and Linda needed, we were just there. I think I actually said I was going before they asked me. It just sounded like so much fun. Yeah.
I think she did, actually.
Yeah.
She said, well, we're going. I said, well, okay.
So tell us about, now you've landed in Portland with all your stuff. Well, first of all, you stopped at my shop on the way up. Tell us about why what was going on there.
That's actually a great story, because, everybody out there, new listeners, people that don't know these old bikes. So my bike was not running when I left to go to the Cannonball. It would putt and sputter, and it was not running worth it all. I probably had 5-10 miles on it at the most, just because it wouldn't run. And we left to go to the Cannonball. We had everything packed up. I had everything going. And I called Rob and said, Rob, can I stop at your shop so you can see what's going on with this thing? Because I figured it should. It's just something stupid that I didn't understand. So we left and we pulled up to Rob's, I think, before he closed that day, and they were heading out to the Cannonball too. And I took it out, and he said, well, let's start it up and see what it sounds like, you know. So I pulled it out. I think you were going to start it once, and you kicked it a couple times. And this thing doesn't start, you start it. And
Right.
I got it started after about 10 kicks. And I took, you listened to the motor and turned the distributor to get the timing right on, and then it ran perfect after that. So it was, you had your, I can't remember your, the guy that works in your shop there, and he.
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah,
I had
Ryan,
him.
you said, tell Ryan to bolt it down and set it right there. So I brought it into Ryan. He tightened the lock nut, and then it was good after that. So.
All right. So then you get to Portland, you leave there, the bike's running, you're feeling a little bit better now, right?
Yep.
So you go to Portland. So tell us what your experiences were in Portland. I understand you had something going on up there.
Yeah, I had some different things going on at different times, but the big thing in Portland was, you know, I think one of the first things was we got up there, everything was running, but there was an issue with the. I was going out for some practice runs, and all of a sudden the bike sounded a little funny, and I went back to the parking lot thinking, what's going on with this thing? It sounds a little funny. Well, I forgot to put oil in it. So, and I just went around a couple parking lots, so it wasn't a big deal. But so I ran like, I don't know, it wasn't that long, but it was a few minutes without replenishing the oil, you know, because I'm just trying to remember everything and do everything. And that was ridiculous. And then we did okay for the kind of the prelude. We made it out to the Bug Light Park, got the photo done, although it was kind of missing and popping and stuff. And then the first day, that was going to be a full day, we made it about to the Harley dealer at Big Moose, I think it was. Made it to the Harley dealer, and it killed 4 times on the way there, and I almost couldn't get it started at the stoplight before turning into the Moose dealer. And then I was perplexed. I didn't know what to do. You know, the gas was fine, the plugs were fine, most of the other stuff was fine. And I thought, well, you know, I'd heard that these things will tighten up after a while as far as the valves and stuff. So I thought, well, I don't feel any play in them. I didn't ever really have a feeler gauge, but I don't feel any play. They feel pretty tight. So I loosened them up to what I thought was, you know, 2,000s and 8,000s for the intake and the exhaust. And then it started up and ran fine. So I was good again.
Let's run through some of your pictures, and you can tell us about them, and then we'll continue with the Cannonball story. But what happens to us is we get so involved in these things, we forget to get to the pictures. So let's look at some of your photos and tell us about this crowd.
Yeah, so that's our crew that we're helping work on the bike. So Jerry Whelan on the right, that's me. And then a friend, Brad Giswold's on the left, way over. And then Dick Clarkowski is the kind of the JD guy. He's got a VL and a JD sidecar rigs at home, and then my brother Steve next to him. So, and that's my 27 up on the left. It was we had that same crew together a few times when we were prepping for the thing. So, so this is another mishap. So this was the next mishap. So the next mishap was, this was which town? I think it might have been Ohio, because you were there too, Rob, on one of the pictures. But so that day, you know, I had kind of been, you know, your back gets tired when you're running. I was kind of leaning back up against my crate on the back of the bike and putting too much stress on it, I guess. So the front of the luggage rack broke off. So the the basket and the box on top of that and the whole luggage rack would just move back and forth willy-nilly. So I had to take a bunch of bungees and kind of hold it together with bungees. Actually, here's a picture. I don't know if this is going to show up very well, but here's all the bungees I had to hold the box and the rack on. I don't know if you can make that out very well, but that's what it looked like.
Necessity.
Wow.
The mother of invention.
And
right
actually,
there.
I didn't even mind that. It was kind of nice because it would stretch a little bit. And you could lean back, and it was kind of sweet. And then so that evening, I brought it to the Norton guys. Which they're there all the time. They're helping everybody out. They're great crew, and they welded a tab on the front of it for me. At the Norton tent. So
Great guys.
Cool.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's great.
yeah, I mean it was great. So I problem solved. So I put that rack back on. I had to get everything lined up and then drill the holes in the thing. Well, guess what? When I drilled that hole the next morning, I got out there and my tire was flat.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I don't know why they put
So
such
that
long
happens,
drills.
right?
Yeah, well, they shouldn't put those long drills in those things.
Oh, that's too fun. So you went to the starting line that morning, and then realized you had a flat, right?
Yep. And I had to quick change that tire and get back on the road. And that changing a tire on those old bikes is a lot longer than changing on a new one, a newer one. Maybe on the big road bikes, maybe they take forever if you don't have a machine, but it took a lot longer than I anticipated it would. But we got it done. So.
Yeah, I remember we were loading up our trailer, and I was like, "You want us to stick around?" You're like, "No, I'm almost done." So that was wild. So what's
part of
going
the
on
country
here?
was that in? I don't remember.
That was in Ohio, at the the Wild Wings, Buffalo Wild Wings. What town was that?
Right. Yeah. That was
Bowling Green? Was it Bowling Green, maybe? I don't know.
Bowling Green. Yeah, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was great. So we made it out of that, caught up with the pack, and did fine for a while. And then the next mishap was in. What was the next mishap? I think the next mishap was there in Sturgis. It was kind of running a little rough again, and my friend Jerry Whelan again came out with Deb on the back, drove his knucklehead out there just to kind of meet us actually in Anamosa, and drove with us to Sturgis. And we decided that we would take a look at the valves when we got to Sturgis, and they were starting to burn a little bit. So we brought it into competition, and what a crew at competition. Lonnie and the guy's name that was there then, I think he's since gone, but is Marty, and what a great guy.
Marty.
He took ground the valves for us, put it all back together, ran perfect after that. And I say, well, let me, what do I owe you? And they said, nothing. It's like, what? You're doing a valve job and putting in, a couple hours of work into my bike, and they didn't charge us a thing. It was amazing.
that's just Lonnie for you. That's just the way he is. He kept his shop open for 2 days, and I think they did like 30 some valve jobs, and I don't know how many boring jobs, and he just loves that kind of stuff, and he loves helping people, and he's in the business to do it. So that's good customer service for him. He was actually pretty happy with this crowd that had come in during 2018, because 2012 we visited his place in the shop, and I think they fixed like 96 bikes that week.
Wow.
I don't know how many things. He still has PTSD from that. So
So tell us some more about these pictures then. Let's roll back. So was that at Lonnie's shop, that one picture with the bikes on the lift?
So then the one so that's Lonnie's shop. That was my bike up on the lift when they did the valves. Marty was working on it there. And then the next one, that's that 29 Indian that I bought from the Netherlands. It's a beautiful bike, and it's actually still sitting at Rinker's place right now. It wasn't running very good, and I brought it out there, and he kind of got it running and stuff, and we're trying to decide whether that might be the one that my stepdaughter Brianna would ride if she got into the Cannonball. So it's kind of sitting there. We're kind of waiting, and maybe we'll put some money into new cylinders if it's going to be ridden more, or we might leave it the way it is if it's not, but it runs great now. So.
All right on.
And how come you didn't want to ride that?
I couldn't the first year because it was a 29. And then, maybe, one of I still could. It's a great bike. So.
Right. It's a 29. Sure. We have some other pictures to look at here. I'm not sure.
Well, that's
Jerry right there.
Jerry Whelan and his wife Deb. They're just great friends of ours, and like I say, has helped me on so many things. And we did the chase together last year. Steve and I and Jerry did the chase last year. That was a great event. We just had a gas on that, and unfortunately, I had bike troubles with Jerry's bike, and then he brought me another one of his bikes so that I could finish the race. So that's pretty. There's the finish line at the at the Cannonball. I can't remember the name of that place, but it was a great.
That was at the Skamania Lodge.
Skamanian Lodge, yeah. That was a neat venue, and boy, that river's beautiful in the background, and that was amazing. Yeah.
So I guess
that was one of our most spectacular finales ever. I mean, just with the setting and the way it was set up, that one's going to be a tough one to top.
Yeah.
Mike, so I guess you didn't have a real good score on this last Cannonball then, did you?
My first Cannonball, the first Minnesotan to ride the Cannonball, the first time we went through Minnesota, and I got a perfect score. And I guess that guy that was fixing my motor did a pretty good job.
I can't believe with all these stories that you had a perfect score. This is unbelievable.
Well, and I certainly, at least my bike didn't start on fire, didn't. There's a lot. I didn't crash into a tree and end up with broken ribs or something like that. But the bike. I mean, it was pretty amazing. The bike performed flawlessly. The tranny was perfect. It was really neat to have that happen. Because honestly, as I'm going along this ride, I'm thinking, the first couple of days I was a little nervous about getting knocked out already. When it wasn't running right at the Big Moose Harley Davidson. But once I got to Sturgis, I'm like, I don't even care if I make another day. I've had so much great experience already. It was just bring it on. If I break down, I break down. I'm having a great time. So.
Right. No, exactly.
So tell us about the sweeper.
Yeah, the sweeper is here.
Come here.
So my stepdaughter Brianna is the sweeper.
Yes.
And maybe she can clue us in a little bit to why she's called the sweeper.
So I got the name of being the sweeper because I was with these old folks and I was the young one and they would forget things everywhere we would go. Like the first night we went out to dinner, Mike forgot his phone on the table. So I took it. We got back to the hotel and he's like, Linda, where's my phone? And Mom's like, I don't know, the restaurant? He's like, well, call it. And so she calls it and it's in my pocket. And I'm like, oh, what's that? So that was the whole Cannonball, all 14 days.
Glasses,
yeah,
keys.
he had glasses. I mean, his head was so focused on the Cannonball and the bike that, gloves, do you have your gloves? Do you have your glasses? Do you have a helmet? Do you have enough warm clothes? Oil? Did you turn the gas on?
Did you ever forget to do that, Mike?
Yeah. Every
So
day.
there was 2 days during the Cannonball where my bike wouldn't start. I'm on the starting line, my bike wouldn't start, or it would start for a little bit and then it would quit. And so right on the starting line, I'm like kicking my bike, and then somebody's push starting me. And then somebody says, do you think your gas is off? And I thought, no, my gas isn't off. And I looked down, my gas was off. So that happened twice.
The nice thing about the community with the Cannonball guys is the guy that asked him that, the two of them still pushed him, did a push start just to save his face a little bit, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that is very funny. That's good. So you had to take care of these old folks, huh, Brianna?
And she was our blogger. She
She did all the blogging. She did just a fantastic job on the blogging. She kept everybody, informed, and she really did a great job.
So I got one more thing to ask. Linda, where's Linda?
She's here.
Come here.
Good. Thanks for.
She has to come on camera, damn it. There. Hey, Linda. How are you?
Butt sisters.
The butts.
Oh, you're the butt sandwich.
Yeah, what a great event for everybody. This was my pit crew, Steve and the three women. That was a little hard on us two guys, but
Not really.
Yeah, you guys.
they were my pit crew, and they had to do the pilot crew race every day. Try and find the parking spot. We've heard from so many other people the same thing, and trying to back the trailers in and this and that. Steve was an excellent backer of trailers.
It just took a long time.
And there's my other brother Larry in this picture. So he's in the Cannonball for 2021 too. He couldn't be here today, but I wanted to get him over here. And, so he was involved early on. He came up to Portland, and he made us a little list of things kind of to try to remember for the Cannonball. And it was this and this and this and this. And he's got little diagrams that have arrows pointing, if this, then this. And it was just a hoot. He did a great job, and he's the smartest one out of the three. I think Steve is the most responsible and caring one out of the three, and I'm just a nutcase is what I am. So.
So you brought up 2021 a little bit. Let's kind of get into that of what you guys are working on, what the plans are, and what's the future with the butts.
Yeah, well, the butts crew. So Larry, Larry's riding his 29 JD. That's pretty much getting pretty close to being done.
And he got that from Kelly.
And he got that from Kelly, and that was the same one Kelly rode in 12 or 14 or something like that, and it needed some help. So it's been gone through pretty well now. It should be a good bike. I've got a couple options, and I think right now it's between a 13 Henderson, a 20 J, and a 29 JDH. Those are the three that I've got going right now. So.
Wow, I don't even know how do you pick between all them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not sure either. I don't know that the Henderson will be done. The JDH will probably be done, but I'll probably end up riding the 20 since I put a lot of time and effort into that, and it looks like it's going to be a good machine. And that also, of course, I bought from you, Jason.
Another one I shouldn't have got rid of. Dang, all the Cannonball people buy all my good stuff.
When did you get into antique bikes, Mike?
Well, the first one would have been in 17 that I bought. So it's
you jumped into this with both feet, huh?
Yes, absolutely. My brother Steve, that's here. He's had a 48 and a 49 for 30 years. And that was the oldest that we went. But now I just kind of jumped into it, and then all of a sudden this one comes up and this one comes up, and sometimes you just can't pick. I mean, Jason, if someone called you and said, I got this JDH I want to sell, would you say, that's all right, I'm not really interested in? It's like you're gonna jump on that. So
I'd be figuring out what credit card I'm going to put it on.
Which 3 credit cards you're going to
put? Yeah, which 3? There you go.
No, for sure. I mean, it's an addiction for sure. I mean, when something comes up and it's what you want, you got to get it.
Yeah. I got one last question for Mike, because I know we're running short on time, but Being a physician, what's the reaction from the folks who you work with about riding motorcycles?
It's a little split, but I would say, the most of them are just there against motorcycles because we just see so many motorcycle injuries. Some people helmeted, some people not helmeted, but you get them all the time, and they're usually bad injuries, a lot of bad head injuries that are the most devastating injuries that we see. But probably it's split. Maybe a quarter of them are thrill seekers because a lot of ER docs are kind of adrenaline junkies. So maybe a quarter of them are just into bikes, just like I am, and they're just into it. They love them. They understand it. And there's definitely the emergency crowd is definitely a little cautious of motorcycles, I would say. And Brianna works in a neurology unit, so she sees all the head injured people up there all the time too. So she, but she still rides. So it's something that's in your blood. Steve's been riding for years, and we did it since we were little kids. So
speaking of Brianna, is she going to ride the next Cannonball? Is she?
Well, she's on the waiting list, so it depends on how the stars align.
Yeah. And what will she be riding?
Well, she, right now we probably would have time that Rinker would be able to get that 29 101 Scout together, and if not, it would be one of the other ones that I have. It might be the J, it might be the pea shooter, which Jason would like to see that pea shooter out there, but I don't know if that's.
I've been waiting for one of those things.
And what's going on? What's going on in Brianna's blog at this point? I understand she's running a blog.
Oh, come back.
Yeah, she's definitely a blogger. She's there it is. Butts goes big.
Yeah.
Big butt.
So unfortunately, I couldn't be there on the chase because obviously there's no support crew. However, if you guys know Mike, it's kind of hard to get stories out of him. This is very new. So it was a hard blog to write without being there, but it was still pretty fun. I went out to Milwaukee when he had to switch out bikes and helped him switch those out. So that was kind of fun to witness. But, I should keep it updated while, you're fixing up the bikes, and
yeah.
I should do that. I never really thought about that. It's a good point.
It never ends.
Yeah, it's just a never-ending blog.
Never ending.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
How about you, Linda? You got some other words of wisdom or a story that needs to be told?
Yeah, she does. She has a few.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do.
Can you tell the one in the hotel room? Because that was really funny.
Tell that one.
So Brianna, our daughter, was staying with us in our room, and she went out for drinks one night. Mike was tired. We went up to the room. I heard some rustling at the door. I thought it was Brianna coming home. So I went to the door. I opened it quickly and yelled, "Boo!" And it wasn't Brianna. It was Doug Feinsod, and he was lost. He thought it was his room, and I think I scared the
It was that one hotel where there was a lot of curves, and he was actually on the wrong floor.
Well, let me guess. His hair stood straight up. You knew.
You know it.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll
Well,
just do a
I'm
quick
out of
shout-out.
questions. I mean, I'm sure I've got a zillion more questions, but we're running out of time here. Jason, you have any final thoughts with Mike and Mary and Steve and Linda and Brianna and the whole butts?
I mean, like I said, I think we could go on for hours, and I mean, I think this will be a good group of people to pick back up on a future show.
Absolutely.
And see what's going on in our world and what they're working on, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully, it'll be one of those times when we get back to normal and we can do it in person and have a little bit better production and see a little bit more into their lives.
I can't wait to see these folks again. These are good people right here. Real good people.
The whole community for the Cannonball is just really great people, and we met so many amazing people, and from the pit crew, just everybody helping each other out, sharing things, and it's just I don't think there's a bad one in the whole group.
Yeah,
it was really amazing experience.
It's definitely a recurrent theme that you hear on all the chronicles. You do meet these people and you do become close, and it's like Linda zipping up Kelly Maudlin's jacket every morning. And, no, seriously, it was Mary. There isn't anybody that Mary hasn't hugged 10 times from the whole Cannonball. It was amazing. Shane Masters is her favorite, and
John Bartman and
John Bartman's great.
Team Ireland, Banks Brothers. You could go on and on and on and on. Yeah.
They all are. They are. And the good thing is you don't have to be in a Cannonball to really experience this. The general public can come to one of the hosted stops, and I'm telling you that every one of these riders is, like this to complete strangers. It's we bring the general public in as family too, and we love to share our passion of this event and motorcycling itself. So come out, see us at one of these hosted stops, meet these people in person, and yeah.
Yeah, all you need to do is approach people. Myself, there's been several people that have been, inquiring about it, just like myself, and they would show up to these events. They'd ask me a few questions. All of a sudden, I'd be showing them stuff and having them sit on my bike, and everybody's like that. It's amazing how everyone's just, we're into it. We love it. We love the two wheels. We love the old bikes. It's great. So.
Heck yeah.
So Mike, Mary, Steve, Brianna, Linda, thank you very much, all of you, for being on the show. And we'd love to have you back and maybe get a little more progress. Maybe we can get a shot from the shop or what you're working on and how everything's going.
Yeah.
So really appreciate you being on here. You guys, I consider you very good friends, and I'm really glad you were able to come on with us.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I wasn't too sure when your peeps first called, Rob. I thought, I don't know if I'm really the camera kind of guy. Rob's good at it.
Yeah, but look, just turn around and look behind you.
Yeah, I know. And then I thought, well, I could bring Mary.
It's us.
I could bring Mary on. Yeah, that would work.
There's television right there.
Thanks for all you do, guys, and Leanne and Rebecca.
Thank you guys too. Thanks for the chronicles, and I feel like I should thank everybody. Jason, you got me going on it. Rob, you've done a lot of work for me. Several engines now, I think at least 3, and the Cannonball. Leanne, Leanne's amazing. She works like a mad woman.
All the crew.
Yeah, everybody really. It's just all the crews and all the crews. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and thank you for having a perfect score, because we had all 4 engines because of you. We had have a perfect score.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Thank you, guys.
Well, we got to get going, Robbie, because Leanne's making brownies, and that's all I can think about right now. I smell them in the other room, and it's driving me crazy.
Rebecca, thank you for your 1,000-word segment. We really appreciate that.
Oh, well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll have something up for next week too.
Thanks a lot.
First, we got to give a huge shout out to Source Media for hosting us every Wednesday night, doing all the behind the scenes work. And without you, we couldn't do it. So,
and
thanks, guys.
Night, Shop Talk, Sunday night, 9:00 Eastern. We'll be talking about generators. This is going to be true shop talk. It's going to be a technical show. There'll be a test, and then there'll be a quiz next week on Wednesday's show.
I should have sent you a generator so you could have done it.
I got plenty. That's okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for tuning in.
Bye, everyone.
Cannonball Chronicles every Wednesday night. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.